Great.
Clappy bits.
Clappy bits, yeah. Important clappy bits. Hi, welcome back to the next Sofa Science, which already is not in a sofa. It's a theme. Shed Science isn't in a shed. Sofa Science isn't on a sofa. But I'm joined with Tom McFadden from Science with Tom.
That's right. And I'm very excited to be here on this imaginary sofa in the Science with Tom set.
Yeah, you're putting on your kind of cameras thing. You can just chill.
I can chill out a little
chill.
bit.
This is like the after hours.
Oh, we're just
side
relaxing.
Of YouTube. We're just chatting.
We're just hanging out.
Yeah.
Okay.
So first, very boring question. How did you get started making? First question though is, what is your channel all about? And introduce yourself to these people if they don't know who you are.
Well, my channel is about the combination of science and hip hop, and students.
The obvious combination.
Exactly. There's dozens of us out there. There's
Yeah.
actually fierce competition in the science rap community right now. And actually even more than that, it's about the intersection of like teachers, scientists, and students. I'm a teacher.
Yeah.
I'm a science nerd, and like I really crave that interaction with scientists. It kind of helps me stay on the cutting edge. It just makes life more interesting. And so I've tried to figure out ways to mix all of those ingredients, including the rapping.
I used to wonder how my cells grow. They divide their nucleus. Wonder how my cells grow. They divide their nucleus. And mitosis is dividing. So each cell has the same old thing. But meiosis is dividing. So your cells can make offspring.
And how did you get started? How did you think, I'm going to go from just teaching science to teaching science on YouTube and making exceptionally well-produced music videos at the same time with your kids involved from the school as well?
Right.
Like, that's such a leap.
Yeah, it was not punctuated equilibrium. It was more gradual than that.
Yeah.
I was like TAing biology classes at Stanford.
Teaching assistant.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
ours was
translating.
this other thing called course associate, where it was like we wrote the tests and it was all like fancy. It was a full-time
So when you
teaching
say you're
job.
teaching at Stanford,
Yes,
does that mean you're teaching undergraduates?
exactly.
Okay.
So that was.
Because you had a background.
I just graduated from there with
Okay.
with a degree in human biology.
Okay.
And because it's this cool interdisciplinary major where you have to combine natural science and social science, there's no grad students that exist to be the teaching assistants.
Okay.
And therefore they hire recent graduates to be full-time teaching staff,
Yeah.
which was so cool for me because I could experiment with all these crazy teaching methods, including making science rap music videos.
So you were making science rap music videos with Stanford students?
Just with my friends.
Okay.
Like, it was for those students. It was like, oh, you've got a problem set. You've got a homework assignment about developmental biology. Here's a video called Regulating Genes to the tune of Money Ain't a Thing by Jay-Z.
So you made them to show to your class.
Exactly.
But you put them on YouTube as well.
Exactly, which is crazy because it took me a long time to realize that YouTube was like a thing besides places to share videos on
Yeah.
a large scale. Like, it was just the most convenient way to share video.
Yeah.
But because they were on YouTube, other people could see them, and one of the early videos got some attention, and it was in the very early days of science rapping. It was pretty much just me and the Large Hadron Collider rap.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen that one.
There'll be a link up here.
Yeah, and so there was a lot of attention, like, oh my god, rap and science, who would have thought this is possible?
Were you surprised that people were finding it and enjoying it?
Absolutely. It was like incredibly weird, kind of terrifying experience. I don't know if you've had that moment of like all these strangers start addressing you and commenting and questions and media, and that was a really bizarre life moment. But there's enough positive reinforcement at each step of the way that it turned into like, oh, let's get some real production values, let's do this, and let's get kids making them. And each one of those steps was a big decision, which has led me to this moment.
And the kids in your videos, are they, where do you find them? Randomly on the street. Have a bag of sweets.
Hey kids, wanna make some science
rap
raps?
videos?
Yeah, pretty much. Honestly, some of the science history battle raps that I've made were not so far. I would just email like teaching lists and be like, hey, Like, because I was in New Zealand for a couple of years, I got a master's of science communication, decided that I wanted to incorporate kids as the ones making it, and historical anecdotes as a like narrative structure, and the battle rap as a narrative structure. And so I would just email teachers and be like, hey, like, I'll come make videos at your school. I got a grant. I got some money. You don't have to pay anything. Like, is this something you'd want to try out? And these crazy teachers were like, yeah, sure. Like, I'll give you 1 day a week in my class, or like, we'll do it after school.
Because I didn't realize watching your channel that they weren't your kids. I knew that you were a teacher.
Right.
And I knew that you had classroom, like secondary school students in your videos. So I just assumed that in your classes, you would be doing it.
And now, fast forward like 1 year later after that project, I did start full-time teaching at a intermediate school, you might call it.
What age is that?
We call it middle school. It's like 13, 14.
Okay.
So right before secondary school?
Well, it's in secondary school.
Perfect.
Yeah.
In secondary school. And once I started full-time teaching, I did start using my own students.
Okay.
And so everything that's on my channel branded as the Science Rap Academy is all like an extra class. It's like you take science with Tom.
With Drosophila wings in the logo.
Yes,
I spotted those
exactly. And so now I've really formalized it into a thing I do with my students, which has been awesome because now I have this thing that I can offer any group of students at any school.
But you're still a full-time teacher.
Yes.
How the hell do you balance it?
There's a lot of passion involved. There's
Like
a
that,
lot
just
of
having late nights in Red Bull.
sleepless nights, exactly. And honestly, the biggest thing has been collaboration with other people. So like on both sides, we should say hi to... Can we point the camera at Elliott real quick?
Come in. So tell us who you are.
I'm Elliott. I do the video production with Tom.
See, so this is the weird thing, is that for me, it's just me. For Alex, it's just Alex. For Julia, it's just Julia. Tom has people.
I've got Elliott.
He's got a set. Like, this is... I'm going to show you backstage soon, but I say backstage. We're literally in the garage.
It's like shed science, you know?
It is. So, yeah, how did you two meet? And why didn't... Were you approached by Tom saying, hi, I want to make science rap videos? Like, how did it happen?
It was through word of mouth. Somebody had mentioned that Tom was looking for some people to do some videos, and I had heard about the project and was like, oh my god, we have to do this. I have a small company and was doing some stuff with another guy, and we met, and then it went off. As soon as you had some funding for that one project, but as soon as it was done, it was just such an experience that I wanted to keep going and seeing how much more we could continue to do.
And it was cool for me because I had worked with probably 5 different video producers during that it was a Kickstarter that had provided enough funding for 5 schools' videos, and it was pretty much different teams at most of the different shoots. And it was Elliott's company that was there, and they were the only team that like kind of got it and was like willing to like be crazy and like give the kids direction and like give creative input. And so it was kind of this crazy fate that allowed us to meet each other who were just on the same page about what we were doing.
So you were already trained in filming, producing, editing, that side of things.
Yeah, and I had gotten through sophomore year math class by writing algebra, which was
okay. So I was going to say, like, do you have any kind of science background?
No, I have no science background. I went to film school, did that, and continued in production, and have a iffy relationship with YouTube and learning about those types of movies. And it's been a learning experience for me as well to kind of branch off. But I enjoy teaching the kids as well and kind of pushing them, and I'd come from a theater background as well, so directing and all that stuff. I'm going to go back behind the camera.
I was going to give you a beat for the algebra rap, man.
Stay for one more question.
Yes.
So if you're coming up with an idea for a video, say you're going to make a video about the science of Superman, there's a Superman costume just in front of me or something, a rap about Superman and spiders, and a rap about spider silk. Who comes up with the idea? Who sends it? Like, what's the timeline? Just talk it through.
He has the idea. He writes the rap, produces the song, comes to me, says, how can we do it? And then we come up with ideas. Mine are always going to be way out of budget and league and just crazy, and then we'll tone it down a bit, and then we'll go through the chaos of post-production and release it.
There's a bit of a big step missed out there.
Well, shooting it.
So you come up with the idea and then you shoot it here, which is in your garage.
Sometimes.
Well, it depends on what project.
Yeah, we've shot a lot of... This kind of only exists to, like, fill in the blanks. Most projects we've done have been out in the world, And a lot of them, like what we basically constantly talk about is we need to do more pre-production, because we basically will like sit around, come up with some crazy ideas. We'll be working on 5 projects at once. So
And
we'll
keep in mind, we have our full-time jobs, so we
Exactly.
only start working at
10 p.m. to 2 a.m. And so we're like halfway thought through this harebrained idea, like let's throw a party and like the cell will be a cake, and like then we'll just have to like basically improvise most of it on the shoot and then solve it in post-production. And so it's not an efficient workflow.
No.
And so every
That's
time...
the one thing I've learned about filming is if you can do it in pre, do it in pre, because my God, post is awful.
Yeah.
So that's kind of one of the things, like I'd say we're at kind of an inflection point in terms of how we're trying to work together, and that is one of the obvious things that we're trying to improve is like the more you can really have it scripted out, storyboarded out, thought through, who's the team, who's going to be there, what are the locations, that will make his life a lot easier, and we'll probably get more sleep, maybe.
And then you film it with the 2 of you, and then you do all the editing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, and then he'll come over for sessions and see revisions and stuff. Yeah.
And it works well, you think? How long does the whole thing take? So I know you're not working full time, but when chronologically, like 3 months, are we talking a year?
It's so different
a
video to
week?
video. So like the craziest thing is if you were to compare Everybody's Got Questions, which you were in.
Which was the massive super thing. I mean, you sent me the email for that a good 2 or 3 months before that.
So compare that to Mitosis Bling. I don't know if you've seen that one. That was a Hotline Bling parody. So like Everybody's Got Questions is closer to normal, which is like a scale of months. From idea to release, months. Mitosis Bling was a 1 week. Like idea to press upload. And so everything's in between those two, but it's definitely closer to 2 months minimum.
Cool. Elliott, I'll let you go now.
Thank you.
Thank you, Elliott.
Seeing as you're so uncomfortable being in front of the camera. But talking about that, what's it been like being on the camera, having your face in the world? Especially because you're going to be like hunting for teaching jobs, and people will Google your name, and there's this weird dude who's rapping on YouTube, which is the place for cat videos.
Right. It's so funny. I think there's such a double standard for men and women on YouTube, because like a lot of things have been really hard about what I've done, but having my face on the YouTube has not been hard at all.
Okay.
Like no one comments on like, what's up with all those freckles? Like, I mean, partly it's because I do educational content, so anybody, and I get very few views, and so anybody who's there is like there because they're like, oh, I'm so excited to learn, and so that helps. Obviously, being a guy and living in a sexist society makes that side of it easier for me.
Do you know who your audience is?
That's no.
You don't go on the analytics.
I do, but like if it's kids and they're below the age of 13, they're legally not allowed to have a YouTube account.
I see, yeah.
And so it's really confusing and really hard. So that's something we talk a lot about, and I would love to be able to way more narrow down, like everyone talks about like just picture that one person that you're making your videos for, and I've never really done that, and because I've changed my audience so much, from college students to middle school students to general audience.
Yeah, who do you aim it for now?
Middle school students.
Okay, so that's age 13, 14.
Yeah, the theory being if you aim for 13, 14, which is like a really important age for your love of science, for like what your relationship with it is. So if you aim it for that age group, you'll probably land in like general public. Like that's kind of what your average human being should also know. But I am like kind of too deep into the biology and the nerdiness and the excitement about the actual stuff that I wind up being more like high school, college. Like I just like put more content into it.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, but it's so cool. I just got to keep it in. I don't want to cut that bit out. That's the fun fact.
And that's why that's one of the cool things about working with Elliott is that he doesn't have a science background, and so we have a really healthy like tension between me trying to be like, let's include the cis and trans version of the Golgi apparatus in this lyric, and he's like, I don't even know what the Golgi is.
Yeah.
You know.
And what is the video that you're proudest of?
The stuff that I've done with students is, as a teacher, it's clearly more exciting because you can see the impact on the kids. And for me, so it would be in that science history battle rap category. And I think the Rosalind Franklin versus Watson and Crick is the one where I look back and I'm like, that was it, right? Because those kids we met so often, they learned so much in such a deep way, collaboration, team effort, to then produce, with given production values, to produce something that could then be used by hundreds of thousands of classrooms. That's always been my dream. It's like, how do you give a very locally powerful experience to a small group of kids and like change their lives on a like more direct, tangible level, and then have what they create for school be something that can like have this second life.
So where's it going from here then? Like, is it going to become an empire that spreads out of this
Science with
tiny little
Tom.
garage?
It's crazy. I've been 90% full-time teaching this year, and I'm going down to 50% next year. Okay. So it's kind of this turning down the official teaching side and turning up the YouTube side. I definitely don't want an empire. I'm very skeptical of most of the world that really seeks to be like an infinitely scalable tech company that will like blah 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 and get rich and like.
But you're in San Francisco.
Exactly, and I am very averse to a lot of those ideas. But that being said, like I am so close to figuring out a way to being able to do what I do, not just with my kids at the private school, not just with a couple schools in Oakland and San Francisco, but like anywhere in the world. And I feel like I'm almost there to making it sustainable financially. And so that's the big puzzle that I'm trying to like get the last pieces into. Yeah. Because if I can do that, then I can just do this full time. Like I can work with different groups of kids on different subject matter, different creative projects. That's definitely what I'm building towards. And
that's what you want to do, is full-time YouTubing.
Yeah, and YouTubing might not be the full story. There might be live shows at schools that are not on YouTube. There might be... YouTube is going to be part of that ecosystem, but I just came from VidCon, and full-time YouTubing is a little bit of a scary prospect also.
Yeah, lots of screaming people.
And lots of like, I'm here for you. Like, you're so important to me. Like, that's like, I'm looking at Sony right there, right? Like, I haven't bridged that gap between... reaching into the hearts of my audience and making that connection and like, here I am. That's not like a thing.
Because you're very much teaching the science. No one sees your personal life.
Exactly. And I don't think that's a route to full-time YouTubing, right? Full-time YouTubing, in my mind, from what I have seen, typically involves opening up your life a lot more. That being said, there are some really cool teachers that I was hanging out with at VidCon who just like make explainer videos about like, I'm a biology teacher and here's...
Is that Bozeman Biology?
Yeah, Bozeman Science, Patrick JMT. There's all these dudes for the most part.
Yeah.
And they don't have the whole, here's everything about my life. So I think there's a middle ground.
Have you decided on a line of this is where, because it must be hard being a teacher as well, that you can't put anything that would jeopardize your career on the internet?
Right. Yeah, it's funny. I think the boundaries I make are less about worrying about my career and more about just like what I'm interested in. And it's like, it's a pretty big leap for me. Like, my default is not to be Snapchatting this event. I should be Snapchatting this. Like, I should be doing more social media, but it's not like this second nature thing. And so I think that's the blockade. It's not even really a rational decision. It's more of just like, what is my personality? Okay.
And last question while we're seated. What is the one thing that you wish people knew about your kind of YouTube science communication side of things that you think that they get wrong? Now is your opportunity.
Yeah, I'd say it's with the student videos, they're so good, most people assume the students didn't do them. They're like, oh, like the student, you're just like writing the lyrics for them. But in reality, that's like months of students researching and like editing and me saying like giving them coaching, but not writing it for them. And so that would probably be the first thing that jumps out, is like when you're watching one of those student videos, to know how much effort that those students have put into learning that material. I was going to say some cliche stuff about how like we're in a garage right now. And like,
so yeah, we will Now, cut to the behind the scenes stuff. So this is a little tour of where we are right now.
First of all, Stephen Jay Gould. Nobody knows who he is, but you should all go read his crazy work. He's like an inspiration in terms of, these are my heroes. This is the Wall of Heroes.
Yeah.
And then behind the Wall of Heroes is...
So this is what it looks like. We are properly just, there we go. Just in a garage. Like,
Yeah. Mattresses, motorcycles, spray paint.
Just
Gotta get the bikes.
normal old garage. So this is where it's all filmed, but lots of lights. It feels like someone's seen a studio, knows what it's like in a studio, but doesn't quite have the money to build it.
It's DIY. That's how this whole YouTube world is, right? It's like people teaching themselves how to do stuff.
Yeah. But then you're editing stuff. Already editing us, so this is the video that you need to... Residence!
And I know we just barely met, but I know she plays the piano and the
Clarinet.
Yo.
So you're editing on Final Cut,
Yeah, this one, yeah.
and how long does it take you to edit a video?
One of these, this will probably take 2 hours, maybe less.
So, oh my god.
How long does it take you to edit a video?
It really depends. If it's a complicated one, what was my... Oh, I did one on the Tragedy of the Commons. That took me 2 days.
That was an amazing video. Do you have a drone for that?
I found someone on the internet who had already filmed that
Dude.
meadow with a drone.
I was really impressed.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So yeah, this is how Science with Tom works. Your non-empire empire.
Yeah. Science with Tom Gila on the board. You'll see it soon. This is going to replace Rosalind Franklin as the one I'm most proud of.
Okay, looking forward to it. And we're back. So you can see that it's weird. It is a proper setup. It's a lot more of a proper setup than mine, but there is still that layer of kind of coming up from the bottom, and everything's a bit haphazard and
Very handmade, and that's the interesting thing about working with Elliott. It's like handmade with the polish, with the professional veneer, you know?
real polish, a lot of polish.
Yeah.
So where can people find you?
They can find me at Science with Tom on the YouTube channel. You can find me teaching every day.
Just hook up with school.
Yeah, no, hopefully, is this going to go on YouTube?
Yes.
Okay, well then there'll be a little...
So yeah, there'll be stuff in the eye, and we also did a video that will be edited with polish, so you can see what we're talking about, where I had to freestyle rap. If you want to see that, then the link is down in the description and up in the eye. But yeah,
She did amazing, by the way. This was like the first time I tried this game,
Yeah.
and I'm not going to tell you how successful she was. You should probably watch it.
You should. Favorite social media network?
Twitter,
And your Twitter handle is?
Science with Tom.
Perfect. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. It's been awesome.
Do you have in your mind a set, this is my personal life, this is my YouTube life, this goes in this category, this goes in the other?
Yep. Okay.
Definitely.
How did you come to that decision?
Naturally, I
Okay.
think. There's a sort of sense of self-protection, I think, for a while.
Protection from?
Judgment.
Okay.
I don't know, to be honest. Ooh, that was so honest and truthful. We're getting into like therapy shit.